Okay, so this week we are reading the short story "The Things They Carried" by Tim O'Brien, and I just want to give you guys a little bit of background about the piece itself. Not necessarily the historical context, but some things that you kind of need to understand before we move into reading the short story. So, the first thing that I want to tell you guys is that this is not. Um, Okay, so your first inclination is going to be to Google the things they carried, right? And find some sort of Spark Notes, Cliff Notes, Schmoop, whatever that you do in an effort to avoid reading at all costs. Well, there's a problem with that in that um, this short story is actually just a piece. It's the first chapter of a larger work of the same title. So, The Things They Carried, the novel, is a collection of fragmented short stories collected and written by Tim O'Brien about his experiences in the Vietnam War. So, the things that you are going to find when you Google the things they carry are going to apply to the novel as a whole rather than the first chapter or the short story that is kind of a standalone introductory piece to the entire text. So, it was published in 1990 and it has been challenged for its gruesome depiction of the Vietnam War and for its profanity, and at least 3 times has ended up on the banned book list in high schools across the country. But critics have also hailed that it is one of the finest examples in American literature of writing about war. So, this text that we are going to read deals with Vietnam, deals with war, and I guess in some ways the fine line between fact and fiction. So, this is a fictionalized account of what Tim O'Brien actually experienced. And I've put a couple of links to some articles that you might find interesting. So I hope you guys like this story, but keep in mind when trying to avoid the inevitable of reading this story that this story that we are reading is not the entire novel, but a piece of the novel as a whole. So, as a standalone short story. So, please take a chance to look at some of the background that I've provided. I'm going to talk a little bit about it in the literary elements, and I hope you enjoy the close reading and the discussion boards and things like that. So, without further ado, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien.